Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure sharing how this COVID-19 has actually reshaped and also redefined the ways of working of STPI as well as other think tanks in Pakistan. Just to give you a brief picture of COVID-19 in Pakistan, so far we have around 0.94 million cases in Pakistan and around 21,000 deaths. Looking at the vaccination in a country of 220 million, we have now got around 11 million doses of vaccine injected. Around 3.5 million people, they are fully vaccinated. The rest of them, they have got their single dose. With this, when it came to the ways of working and how think tank changed, I think the first effect that we found that was on our ways of doing work. STPI, we have been working online for last 1.5 year now. Almost 2/3 of our staff, they are working from home, while 1/3 staff, they come to office. Initially, it was quite difficult to adapt to this remote way of working. It was also expensive, buying all those softwares which could enable us to work as a team. But gradually, we realized that it has actually enhanced our efficiency and productivity and our work output. Resultantly, STPI, we used to had 2.5 floor in the building where we are located. We have already vacated 1 floor for good. So we plan that even if things they get normalized, we'll keep on adapting this flexibility of working from home. We also tried it for our advocacy and our annual conference, which was conducted online. And those of you who have attended any of STPI Sustainable Development Conference, they know the magnitude of the conference. It was inaugurated by President of Pakistan, concluded by the Secretary General of SCO, but all the panels, the parallel panels, those were online and we conducted it quite successfully. So this was the first lesson that we learned. The second thing was it was a reduction in our funding. Obviously, most of the funding, it was rightly going to health and COVID-related issues. And STPI felt a major brunt where both domestic as well as international funding, the sources of funding, those were reduced. And I think that's where our major ways of doing work, sectoral work, that we are a multidisciplinary think tank, that helped us a lot. I can imagine that many think tanks who had a singular focus, just focused on any single discipline besides health, perhaps they could have found it extremely difficult to survive. But because we were working on almost each and every aspect of sustainable development, so we quickly adapted to 3 major themes. One is social protection and how the fiscal stimulus and the policies that assure social protection, they can reach to the right target group. Second is food security, the impact of COVID-19 on food supply chains, on food security, and what can be done differently. And third is, of course, health-related issues, how we could strengthen our public health infrastructure. And again, that is something that worked for us. We immediately went to this stakeholder consultation mode, dialogues after dialogues with all the key stakeholders. And based on those, I think the first 6 months of COVID, we were just focused on conducting webinars and conducting stakeholder discussions, roundtables, one-on-one meetings, and on the basis of which we prepared certain policy recommendations that the Prime Minister Office adopted quite quickly, because most of them, they were quite relevant. So STPI was asked to prepare a food security portal or food security dashboard. This is a technological tool which actually provides a real-time information of food stocks and their demand in at a district level uh, vis-a-vis the price fluctuation. So that was one of the recommendation that was accepted by Prime Minister Office, and then STPI was asked to uh, prepare this dashboard. Second was our recommendations for targeted cash transfer, the food, uh, the social security nets, and third was our recommendation for a broader macro policy initiatives. Again, it's being relevant that helped, and I feel that because we knew that what were the policy asks from the government, so we could immediately supply those. Uh, and initially, it was without any funding. When we started working on it, food security dashboard, it was picked by IDRC and FCDO. So the actual software then we got developed with the help of these two organizations. Finally, I would say that now we are uh, quite closely working with the government of Pakistan, and it is about awareness on vaccine, why people they should get vaccinated. So we have launched a policy outreach campaign. No one is safe until everyone is safe. And under that campaign, we are conducting different advocacy activities, different policy initiatives. We are making the best use of social media. Uh, and of course, that social media and online ways of working that has helped us to work closely with our stakeholders, both uh, in Pakistan as well as internationally. So only last week, on the eve of event of World Environment Day, where Pakistan was the global host, STPI with the United Nations Environment Program, we had conducted quite a few hybrid activities in all provincial capitals of Pakistan, as well as some regional activities. So if I look at STPI's experience, I would say that the flexibility and our capacity to quickly adapt to the changing circumstances, that actually helped us. But then I can relate to many of the think tanks in Pakistan who couldn't adapt that quickly, or who were not flexible enough to adapt either sectorally, their area of specialization or their ways of working. Those are actually getting affected badly due to the shrinkage of funding, as well as shrinkage of space where they can relate and they can create a difference. I think by virtue of what we have been trying to contribute in our given resources and given policy spaces, uh, I would like to see the focus of our formal or informal network and the work in our organization to be more focused on sustainable development goals. So for our December conference, annual conference, the theme that we have chosen is Beyond the Pandemic, Leaving No One Behind. Looking at some of the positivity of silver lining that this COVID-19, it has provided, compelled the government to focus on this social development agenda, to allocate funds for social development, and also looking at uh, some of the disadvantages due to this COVID-19, especially the marginalized and poor segments of our societies who are who would find it more difficult to catch up with the mainstream rising inequalities and inequities due to COVID-19. So this is what we are planning to do at STPI during 2021, and we'll be more than happy to join hands with any regional think tank, any supra-regional think tank, if we can do something together. Second point is that by virtue of our ease of connecting on these virtual platforms, perhaps we should try to compensate for the the lost opportunities of networking that we could have done during our physical meetings. I think one of the discussants, he very rightly mentioned that we are losing out on those opportunities, and perhaps the networks sometime they can actually just convene a meeting just to discuss informal discussion on certain agenda points rather than very formal presentations, just a round table under Chatham House rule, whereby we can express our new ideas, we can express what can be done differently, we can learn from each other. Uh, uh, I think these are the two messages that I have from today's discussion.